Now at 9, a local sheriff's office looks to crack down on drivers not wearing seatbelts ahead of the holiday weekends.
Enough formula to fill 500,000 baby bottles has arrived in the U.S., with more on the way. I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. I'll have details coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jordan Aubie. State authorities are investigating a house explosion in Snook, Kansas. This after a person was found dead in that home. Firefighters got the call Saturday morning of a fire at 1420 South Evergreen in Chanute. Authorities say there was no fire, but one wall of the home had been blown out by an explosion, and 3 other exterior walls and the roof were significantly damaged. Crews took precautions to prevent a further collapse at the home. Then they went in, found the body. They have not yet released the victim's identity. The ATF and State Fire Marshal's office are helping with this investigation. A Coffeyville, Kansas man is going to face a jury trial in December after he was charged with raping an infant less than 18 months of age. A judge said during a preliminary hearing on Friday there was enough evidence to bring 57-year-old Archie Cannon in front of a jury. He's charged with rape and aggravated intimidation of a witness or victim. Cannon is being held on a $100,000 bond. All right, meteorologist Nick Kelly joining us now. First look at the forecast. For the most part, a cloudy day today, Nick.
Yeah, then the rain finally started to ramp on up, Jordan, as advertised, and this is trying to stick with us for as long as it can for a good portion of this week. 46 this morning, but we still managed to climb up to 63 despite all the clouds and the increasing rain, which we're seeing lining up along south of Interstate 44. This is all because of a storm system out west and southwest, both systems coming together, and it's going to do nothing but keep us under the clouds, keep the rain machine cranking, and only allowing us to drop back to 57 tomorrow morning. But despite all the clouds and the periods of rain and thunderstorms, we are going to trend maybe a little bit warmer, pushing 68 tomorrow. We'll see if this can clear up before the holiday weekend here in a few, Jordan.
See you in a bit. Thanks so much, Nick. The National Click It or Ticket campaign is underway this week to help increase enforcement of seatbelt laws. KOAM's Chris Warner has more on the importance of the campaign and how it helps local law enforcement.
Law enforcement agencies across the nation are out this week enforcing seatbelt laws with the Click It or Ticket campaign. That campaign comes with grant money as well, which allows agencies to put more officers out on the roads.
We have deputies that will sign up for the overtime. We'll go out, patrol the roads. We'll try to hit areas that have high accident rates, high traffic incident areas. And we will patrol that area, look for any hazardous moving violations, pull them over. Of course, if you're not wearing your seatbelt, you will get a ticket.
Lieutenant Scott Stanley with the Jasper County Sheriff's Office says it also allows them to patrol for other violations like drinking and driving. Newton County is another agency putting more deputies out on the road. Sheriff Chris Jennings says the campaign is an excellent way to educate drivers on seatbelt safety.
I can't even begin to go over the importance. In all my years of law enforcement, I've seen a lot of people die in car wrecks, and a lot of them did not need to die. It's just the stats themselves show seatbelts save lives.
Jennings says there are some things that never get easier.
I tell you, it's really hard, especially with the children. I still see children all the time running around in cars with no seatbelts, standing in seats, one thing or another. It's hard for me to begin to imagine what the parents are thinking.
He adds there's dangers to having some people buckled and others unbuckled.
A lot of people don't realize also that if they're in the passenger with somebody, if the other person has a seatbelt and they don't, they'll do a lot of damage to that individual in a car wreck themselves. So it's important for everybody, not just the driver, but the passengers, everybody, to have a seatbelt on.
He's hopeful that people will heed the warning and buckle up every time.
I mean, there's enough death in the world now without unnecessary deaths added onto it. It is difficult to see and know that quite possibly a seatbelt might have saved that life.
I'm Chris Warner for KOAM News.
Sheriff Jennings says 65% of traffic fatalities in Missouri are unbuckled drivers. Local nonprofit today showed their support for the Joplin Police Department. Joplin's Community Support Services of Missouri donated $4,500 to the department. The money was raised through a spaghetti feed after the tragic shooting in March that left 2 officers dead and another injured.
Very closely with the police department on those crisis calls that we take out to the community when those individuals need additional support. And when we heard of the events involving Officer Reed and Corporal Cooper, we felt we needed to do something for their families to give back, given that they had been there for us so many times and continue to be.
Joplin's Community Support Services of Missouri serves people with disabilities and works closely with the police department for assistance when additional support is needed. Officials say they want that close relationship to continue. People in Joplin had the chance to get rid of those Monday evening blues with some fun games of bowling at the 4th Street Bowl. Free bowling, free pizza, and giveaways sponsored by the Alliance of Southwest Missouri. It was all to raise awareness against drugs.
What this is for community members to come together and have something that is healthy and fun to do within the community, and our ultimate goal is to reduce drug use in the long term.
The Alliance hopes to have more events like this in the future. Relief could soon be arriving for millions of parents and caregivers across the U.S. dealing with this baby formula shortage going on. Yesterday, a military plane arrived from Europe with enough formula to fill more than 500,000 bottles. The Biden administration hopes Operation Fly Formula is going to help ease this uncertainty for so many parents. Fox's Caroline Shively has more details from D.C.
It isn't the typical cargo for this Air Force crew, but it's among the most precious. 78,000 pounds of baby formula arrived on this flight to Indianapolis on Sunday amidst a nationwide shortage.
It's the hope that us parents have now and that feeling of relief that we have with this specialized formula here.
This prescription-only formula will go to medical centers, but more plane loads are set to arrive across the U.S. in the coming days.
There's going to be additional imports from existing companies that do business in the United States that continue to operate 24/7.
Administration officials blame formula maker Abbott for the crisis. The company's Michigan plant shut down in February due to safety concerns. Abbott is one of 3 companies that supply 90% of the country's formula.
We need more competition in this market. We need more companies providing their services, and we need to make sure that we never put ourselves in a situation where private sector supply chains can create such risk for American families.
Last week, the administration reached a deal with Abbott to reopen the plant, but it will be a few months before the formula reaches stores.
I think the Biden administration owes people a great explanation of what they did and why they did it, and how they analyzed it. Actually shutting down the factory was in the best interest of the majority of Americans.
2 House committees are set to hold hearings on the shortage on Wednesday. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14 takes this time to honor another 4-state hero. Stephen Casey served in the U.S. Army, joining back in 1979, and we are proud to thank and salute Staff Sergeant Stephen Casey, a native of Lamar, Missouri. He's tonight's 4-state hero. Nick Kelly's next with a complete look at the forecast, and later, Jasper softball continuing their postseason run in the state semifinals.
Plenty of clouds as advertised as we got this new work week underway, but the clouds have kept us pretty quiet. Not enough moisture for any rain to come out of it for a good portion of the day, but as more moisture gets pulled in ahead of our advancing storm system, it's no surprise that we're really starting to see these rain chances not only increase in coverage to the southwest of the region, but starting to work into the region from the southwest. Nothing too heavy though, but moderate rainfall, plenty of it from about Jasper County along 44, working back into northeast Oklahoma. And this is just beginning. The rain chances are really to ramp up and stick around for the next several days. So that's why in this lighter shade of green from Coffee, Anderson counties, Neosho, Allen, and Labette counties off to the west, those are flood watches taking us until midnight on Wednesday. Because again, we're just starting to see these rain chances ramp up. 57 in Joplin with cloudy skies and rain at the airport and downtown. Upper 50s to lower 60s. Whether you're seeing rain or not, this is only going to allow temperatures to drop back into the middle to upper 50s for tonight as we see our storm system at the surface. A warm front to the southwest draped across Texas and a broad upper level low, but it's got good bundles of energy rotating around our passing jet parked just to the south. So all of that is going to keep us cooler than normal. Normally we should be almost near 80 degrees at this point in the month of May, but with all the clouds, the rain chances ramping up, even some thunderstorms with moderate to heavy rainfall on periods tomorrow morning and then picking up again tomorrow afternoon. We're going to be struggling to get close to 70 degrees, but despite all the clouds and the rain that you see lining up for tomorrow, I think we can actually trend a little bit warmer, if you can believe that. 57 in the morning in Joplin, 65 by noon. We'll push highs to 68. In fact, everybody should go into the mid to upper 60s. Again, that's despite all the cloud cover and the rain and thunderstorm chances will be passing through. Fortunately, Doug and I are not seeing anything in terms of anything too strong or severe, but again, can't rule out moderate to heavy rain with the strongest of the rain and thunderstorms, and you can see how the rain chances will just continue as we go into Wednesday. So just between now and Wednesday afternoon alone, look at how much rain we could pick up. Maybe a half an inch to an inch on the low end, but you can see how our corners of Kansas and Oklahoma want to ramp up between 1 to 3 inches. This is why those flood watches are out, so we need to keep an eye on any flooding concerns as this system takes its time passing over the region. But once we get into Thursday and Friday, that's when the system will finally get on out of here. And notice how the jet returns back to the north, and that's going to lead to a warm holiday weekend, thankfully, as we get the unofficial start of summer underway. Here are the details of that and the rest of the 7-day forecast. 68 tomorrow, staying near 70 on Wednesday, mid 60s on Thursday with that brunt of the system passing overhead. Then we're dry for a good portion of the weekend, Jordan, save for maybe a few stray storms on Saturday, but we'll go from 76 on Friday, then lower to middle 80s for the holiday weekend.
Yeah, Memorial Day looks pretty good.
So far, knock on wood, we're saying dry and good.
See you in a little bit. Thank you so much, Nick Kelly. Cleanup continues after the deadly tornado that hit Gaylord, Michigan Friday. Michigan State Police releasing this video that we're seeing right here of the damage left behind after the EF3 twister moved across the region. 2 people were killed, more than 40 people hurt. Twister damaged structures, destroyed a mobile home park, and knocked out power and power lines. Michigan State Police said as of yesterday, power had been restored and all residents in Gaylord had been accounted for. Coming up, he said it, but did he mean it?
The White House walking back President Biden's statements after the president suggested a stiffer line on Taiwan. I'm Mather Rivera in Washington with details coming up.
First, here's a look at our tower camera, sponsored by R.E. Smith Construction as work continues in the KOAM More Power project. Check it out anytime on our website, koamnewsnow.com/power. President Biden signals a more confrontational approach toward China with remarks that appear to take even his own administration officials by surprise. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera explains from Washington.
President Biden making headlines in Tokyo when asked if the U.S. would intervene militarily in Taiwan if China were to invade.
Yes.
You are?
That's the commitment we made. We agree with a one China policy, but the idea that it can be taken by force, just taken by force, is just not appropriate.
The president's remarks are a clear break from the long-standing policy of strategic ambiguity toward Taiwan. For years, the U.S. has expressed support in helping Taiwan defend itself, but has remained vague about whether it would use military force. The White House quickly downplayed the president's statement, saying, as the president said, our policy has not changed. He reiterated our one China policy and our commitment to peace and stability across Taiwan Strait. A top Chinese spokesman is slamming the president.
Taiwan is an inalienable part of Chinese territory. The Taiwan issue is purely an internal affair of China and cannot be interfered with by external forces.
Still, some of the president's outspoken critics have backed the aggressive stance, especially in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
You don't want ambiguity in dealing with Beijing. You want them to understand an attack on Taiwan will lead to a very large war that they will lose.
While abroad, the president also addressed domestic issues, warning inflation may be here for the long haul, although he doesn't think the U.S. is headed for a recession. In Washington, Mather Rivera, Fox News.
Still ahead, another growing health concern.
Health experts here and abroad are on high alert as cases of monkeypox climb globally. I'm Jeff Paul in Los Angeles with details coming up.
Salmonella outbreak has prompted a Jiff peanut butter recall. According to the CDC, 14 people have fallen ill in 12 states. 2 cases were serious enough to require hospitalization. The recall includes several varieties of Jiff peanut butter, but only those that were produced at its plant in Lexington, Kentucky. Go to this story on KOAMnewsnow.com for the link to more specific information on this recall. Monkeypox cases are rising across the globe, but U.S. officials are being cautious and do not expect a significant spread of the rare disease here at this time. Fox News correspondent Jeff Paul has these details from Los Angeles.
We're still in the early days of this outbreak, so there's a lot we're still learning.
Cases of monkeypox continue to climb across the globe. There have been 92 confirmed cases of the rare disease in 12 countries, and 28 potential cases are under investigation.
The transmission is really happening from close physical contact, skin-to-skin contact.
Officials from the World Health Organization expect cases to rise as contact tracing and disease surveillance expands in the coming days and weeks. Here in the U.S., monkeypox infections remain low. The first case was reported several days ago in a male patient who is currently in an isolation ward at a Massachusetts hospital. President Biden says everyone should be concerned, but stresses an outbreak is not likely at this time.
We've had this monkeypox in larger numbers in the past, number one. Number two, we have vaccines to take care of it.
Symptoms of the virus are similar to the flu and can include fever, chills, and rash-like bumps on the skin. Officials say monkeypox symptoms can last between 2 and 4 weeks in most people.
It's basically impossible for the monkeypox virus to cause a pandemic. It's not highly contagious. The transmission is inefficient, requires a very close contact for a prolonged period of time.
The CDC is asking all health providers to be on alert for patients who have symptoms that are consistent with monkeypox, regardless of travel history. In Los Angeles, Jeff Paul, Fox News.
The Big Apple saying farewell to some technology that just isn't convenient anymore. More on this next. It was the last of its kind in New York City. This morning, the city removed its only remaining public payphone. It was located on 7th Avenue and 50th Street in Midtown Manhattan. As recently as 2014, there were more than 6,000 public payphones across New York City's 5 boroughs. The city began replacing them with Wi-Fi hotspots in 2015. Link NYC, which operates the hotspots, also provides other services, including device charging, free phone calls within the U.S. Now, there are still some payphones in public places in New York City, but they are privately operated, and that's a very good thing. I was getting worried, seriously, because Nick Kelly and I were debating this during the last commercial. I just thought to myself, with no payphone places, where's Clark Kent gonna go?
But in the first Superman movie, he sped around those revolving doors, changed in an instant.
All right, so Nick Kelly said in the first Superman movie, he went in the revolving doors, and that's all he needed. So, okay, thanks for telling me that, Nick Kelly. I was worried. 30 more minutes, news, weather, and sports coming away. Going to have a warning from the Better Business Bureau about a clothing retailer in the region.
The Ukrainians dig in on the Eastern Front as the Pentagon works to get more weapons into the country. I'm Greg Pelcott in Kyiv. That's my story. Come in.
The Humane Society of the United States is out with its horrible 100 for 2022. The list is an annual report on puppy breeders and dealers that the Humane Society has deemed as problematic because of treatment or living conditions of the animals. This is the 10th year of the report, and like the 9 previous years, Missouri is reporting as having the highest number of dealers listed with 26. Kansas has 7 dealers listed and Oklahoma has 1. You can view the report on our website, again, KOAMnewsnow.com. City of Snook, Kansas is warning residents about a scam call going around. Officials say the scammers are telling residents they overpaid their utility bills and are owed a refund. But to send the refund, they need the resident's credit card number and personal information. Now, City is not making these calls. They say if you are overpaid, the difference will show up as a credit on your next bill. Better Business Bureau is warning consumers about a Southwest Missouri clothing retailer not fulfilling orders. Officials say multiple customers have reported Amara's Apparel, based in Ozark, Missouri, to the BBB for orders not being delivered, not providing refunds, and failing to contact consumers. The business sells handmade children's clothing and has received an F rating from the BBB.
Better Business Bureau wants for people to be cautious. There are customers who are telling us that they've paid hundreds of dollars for kids' clothes and they're not receiving them. This is especially important to parents, as with everything that's going on in the world right now, as difficult as it is for them to get baby formula and things, for them to not be able to get their clothes as well is upsetting some parents.
Better Business Bureau has a list of tips to shop online safely on their website, bbb.org. The youngest Americans could get their COVID shots as soon as this summer. The FDA's vaccine advisors are going to meet in just a few weeks to review 2 different formulas. Fox News correspondent Molly Line has more.
COVID vaccine access could soon expand.
The FDA has announced its vaccine advisors will meet June 14th and 15th to discuss Pfizer's and Moderna's shots for children as young as 6 months old. Today, Pfizer announced its 3-dose series was about 80% effective in this age group. For Moderna's 2 shots, efficacy is about 40 to 50%. For some parents, the vaccines are a long time coming.
It's been really hard to keep waiting and have dates in mind, and then those pass, and then to see the rest of the world move on has been a really big challenge for many of us.
The meetings come as COVID cases rise once again. The American Academy of Pediatrics reported 93,000 new infections in children for the week that ended May 12th. That's about a 75% increase in 2 weeks. Despite the uptick in cases, it's not clear how high demand will be to give younger Americans the shots. CDC data shows just 30% of 5 to 11-year-olds have been fully vaccinated. Meanwhile, COVID continues to have an impact overseas. Chinese health officials are maintaining their zero COVID policy. In Beijing, people are bracing for a widespread lockdown after a record number of new cases over the weekend.
The pandemic is far from over. And even as we continue to fight it, we face the task of restoring essential health services.
The World Health Organization says 60% of the global population is vaccinated against COVID-19. In Boston, Molly Line, Fox News.
Starbucks is pulling out of Russia. The coffee giant telling Fox Business it has made the decision to exit and no longer have a brand presence in the market. Days after Russian forces invaded Ukraine, Starbucks joined a growing list of corporations that suspended all business activity in the country. The company operated in Russia for 15 years and has 130 stores there. The Pentagon hosts a meeting aimed at getting more weapons to Ukraine. This as fighting in the east escalates, with momentum possibly shifting back in favor of Russian forces. Fox News senior foreign affairs correspondent Greg Pelcott has more from Ukraine.
Russian shelling continuing around the clock as Moscow escalates its offensive in eastern Ukraine. The main target, Severodonetsk, thought to be key to taking over Luhansk province and eventually the entire Donbass region. Russia is making minor gains while pursuing a scorched earth policy. But the Pentagon says it will do everything possible to help the Ukrainians maintain their defensive lines.
We'll sharpen our collective understanding of the battlefield conditions, and we'll discuss how we can strengthen and modernize the Ukrainian armed forces for the long haul.
And with the momentum on the ground now possibly shifting towards Russia, U.S. officials are looking at ways to beef up security at the newly reopened American embassy here in Kyiv, including the potential deployment of special operations forces.
They want to bring in military to assist. That is appropriate. Make what the assessment is and then scale the security force to what the threat is.
Meanwhile, Ukraine's president is rallying support from world leaders at the Davos Economic Forum, asking for tougher sanctions on Moscow, including a total ban on Russian energy. President Biden said Monday the current sanctions are having a big impact, a claim quickly refuted by Vladimir Putin.
Despite all the difficulties, I would like to note that the Russian economy is withstanding the sanctions hit and withstanding it quite well.
The White House is now reportedly considering new sanctions on countries that buy oil and gas from Russia. In Kyiv, Greg Pelcott, Fox News.
A bit later, Depp back in the courtroom for his defamation trial.
The defamation trial between Johnny Depp and his ex-wife Amber Heard enters its 6th and final week. I'm Madla Rivera in Fairfax, Virginia, with details on what happened in court coming up.
Plenty of cloud cover ramping up throughout the course of the day, while most of us stayed dry during the day, though. Once we got deeper into the afternoon, certainly this evening, that's when the rain machine kicked into gear after we wrapped up the weekend on a dry note the other day. Nothing really alarming popping up. We're trying to get some more rain and thunderstorms developing out in the central parts of Oklahoma, but a closer look to home shows mainly along and south of 44 is where the bulk of the rain has been for much of the evening, but some areas north of 44, especially from Greenfield back through Avila or Nogo down to Joplin, picking up on the rain and then picking back up in intensity for southern parts of Cherokee County, all along the Kansas-Oklahoma line and into northeast Oklahoma. Moderate rainfall, nothing alarming yet, but the rain machine is going to keep on cranking and then overtake much of the area for the next few days. That's why we have flood watches for a good portion of southeast Kansas. until midnight as we go into Wednesday. Wait till we show you the possible rain amounts on the way. But outside, cloudy. Rain around Joplin sitting at 57 with an east breeze at 7 miles per hour. Most of us are in the upper 50s to lower 60s. And these temperatures are not going to drop off very much as we continue with the clouds and the rain chances that will only continue to increase as we see this warm front edge closer to the region going into tomorrow. And this upper level low, broad upper level low, but it's got several waves running along the jet park just to the south of the region. That's all of that is going to help keep these rain chances going. Not only keep them going, but overtake more of the area. Certainly as we go through the overnight into your Tuesday morning, maybe a bit of a lull for some during the middle of the day, but once we go deeper into the afternoon, we'll see more rain and thunderstorm chances popping up. Nothing too strong or severe expected, but can't rule out moderate to heavy rain with the strongest of the rain and storms. Despite all of that, we should actually trend a little warmer tomorrow. We'll start warmer tomorrow at 57 in the morning in Joplin, 65 by noon, topping out around 68 with the southeast breeze at 5 to 15. In fact, everybody should go into the middle to upper 60s tomorrow. But the rain machine keeps going. We'll deal with rain chances tomorrow night and the Wednesday morning, and then becoming more scattered, but the rain chances, they're definitely going to stay there, despite highs going near 70 as we go into your Wednesday. But within the next couple days alone, while much of southwest Missouri could maybe see half an inch to an inch, we can see 1 to 3 inches for parts of southeast Kansas and northeast Oklahoma. The more reason why those flood watches are out. We got to keep an eye on any light flooding concerns as long as the system takes its sweet time passing through. But once we get past Thursday and into the holiday weekend, it's gone. Maybe a weak wave by Saturday, but look at that jet stream lifting back to the north, certainly by the Memorial Day. That leads to a warm Memorial Day holiday weekend on the 7-day forecast. We got to get past highs near 70 for the next few days, 68 tomorrow, 70 for Wednesday, mid-60s on Thursday. Then we're looking good for much of the holiday weekend, Jordan. Dry, with the exception of maybe a few storms Saturday, but 76 Friday, the lower to middle 80s for the rest of the stretch.
This is just too weird. It's too cool out, at least for me.
I know, but we're going to take care of that by this weekend, that's for sure.
Hey, Kelly, thank you as always. So what if your clothes could help combat climate change? The concept may seem like something out of a science fiction movie, right? But technology could be coming to your closet sooner than you'd think. Fox News correspondent Jackie Ibanez has more.
In fashion, sustainability is the latest hot trend, something climate-concerned consumers hope never goes out of style. And in a business where the goal is to turn heads, these carbon-capturing aprons are doing just that.
They're absolutely amazing.
Researchers backed by H&M have developed a special solution that allows fabric to catch carbon dioxide in the air. The technology is currently being tested by chefs at this Swedish restaurant in Stockholm, whose aprons are made with the liquid. And what seems like magic, officials say the carbon stays stuck to the aprons until they're heated to about 90 degrees. It's then that the CO2 revaporizes and can be repurposed, like below the restaurant, where it's being used to help grow plants, which are then incorporated into some of their dishes.
It is pulled into this greenhouse here and is used as a food for the plants. So it completes the photosynthesis cycle.
According to data collected by the United Nations, the fashion industry produces roughly 8 to 10% of the world's carbon emissions. On any given day, officials say a t-shirt made with this solution can help capture about a third of the CO2 that a tree can. It's a small start that officials hope can soon be applied on a more industrial scale. To help future clothes made with the solution go mainstream, researchers say they need to help consumers find a user-friendly way to repurpose the CO2 their clothes capture, noting not everyone has access to a greenhouse. Jackie Ibanez, Fox News.
Coming up in sports, Jasper meeting Holcomb in the state semifinals, plus Diamond aiming to make history with their first ever trip to the state championship game. Danny Terzer has the highlights next.
The Diamond Wildcats take the field today for the Class 2 state semifinals. It's the Wildcats' second straight Final Four appearance. Diamond aiming to make program history against Kennett today. Wildcats down 5-2 in the third. 2 runners on for Caitlin Surrey. She delivers. It's a 3-run shot to tie the ball game. Madison Bentley went the distance in the circle for Diamond, striking out 6 batters. Kennett retakes the lead in the 5th. Emma Tinnan pops it up. Lauren Turner able to come home on the play. 6-5 Indians, but Diamond comes back once more to walk it off. 7-6. The Wildcats are headed to the program's first ever state championship.
Oh my gosh, I'm just thrilled. I'm super proud of my girls. That was a really tough ball game, probably one of the longest ball games all season. And they just fought every inning to stay in it and stay alive, and it just paid off. They just did awesome.
In the Class 1 state semifinal, Jasper meets Holcomb. Jasper up 1-0 here. The Hornets, though, have 2 on and nobody out. Grace Osborne goes to work. The sophomore strikes out the next 3 batters to end the threat. Then Osborne doing it on offense. RBI double. Scores Emerson Bass. 2-0 Eagles. Later in the inning, Abigail Dumm grounds out, but Madeline Hatfield comes home. Osborne pitches a complete game shutout. 3-0 Eagles, the final. Jasper advances to the program's first ever state title game.
So excited, so excited. Like, this is what I've been trying to get to. This point in my life is what I've been trying to get to my entire life, pretty much. Playing for a state championship is a big deal where we come from. It's a big deal.
Switching to baseball, the Liberal Bulldogs have earned a spot in the Class 1 state tournament, facing Billings today in the sectional round. The Bulldogs season comes to an end, 17-7 the final. Liberal finishes with a 13-10 overall record. Over in Kansas, the Iola Mustangs are headed to the Class 4 state tournament for the first time since 2018 when they won it all. Iola is the 4 seed for the tournament. They will face Ottawa, the 5 seed, in the quarterfinals on Thursday. The Mustangs enter the tournament with some momentum. They're coming off a regional title against the defending Class 3 state champs.
In the first couple of innings and struck first, and hopefully we can continue to do that. I would say it starts with our three lefties that we have. They've all are hitting over 450 for us. And then we have a lot of our right-handed sticks that are stepping up. A few of them are hitting in the mid 300s, so it's balancing out nice.
Back with more news after.
Defamation trial between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard entering its 6th and final week. Just to bring you up to speed, just in case, Depp is suing Heard for $50 million over a 2018 op-ed she wrote identifying herself as a victim of domestic abuse, which Johnny Depp says destroyed his career. Heard is countersuing her ex-husband for $100 million, accusing him of conspiring with his lawyer to defame her. Fox News correspondent Madeline Rivera has the latest on the trial from Virginia.
All eyes were on a Fairfax, Virginia courtroom Monday as actor Johnny Depp was expected to take the stand in his $50 million defamation suit against his ex-wife, Amber Heard. But in a midday update, Heard's team said they would not be calling on Depp. Instead, the day began with expert testimony, first from an orthopedic surgeon who tried to cast doubt about how Depp's finger was severed in 2015.
Dr. Moore, based on your analysis, did Mr. Depp's finger injury happen as a result of a vodka bottle being thrown at him? No.
Depp is accusing Heard of throwing that vodka bottle at him. However, the surgeon testifying for Heard's defense says Depp's allegations and the photos of his injury don't add up.
To create the type of injury with that type of a crush injury, we would anticipate both injury to the fingernail and other parts of the finger.
On cross-examination, Depp's lawyer tried to undermine that assessment, saying the surgeon had never treated or examined the actor's hand in person. Additionally, Heard's team brought in a psychiatrist who also did not treat Depp, but reviewed the case.
So, in my opinion, Mr. Depp has behaviors that are consistent with both someone who has a substance use disorder as well as consistent behaviors for someone who is a perpetrator of intimate partner violence.
Depp's team has indicated his ex-girlfriend Kate Moss could be called to the stand as a rebuttal witness on Wednesday. Heard brought up Moss during her testimony, referencing a rumor that Depp once pushed the model down a flight of stairs. In Fairfax, Virginia, Madeline Rivera, Fox News.
Coming up, look at the entertainment coming your way this week on Fox 14. These premieres and a couple of season finales are on Fox TV this week. Here's a look at what's coming up with Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
Mark Kelly,
Cue the music with a few musical game shows leading the Fox TV lineup. Monday is the premiere of Don't Forget the Lyrics, hosted by Niecy Nash. That's followed by the season 5 premiere of Beat Shazam, with host Jamie Foxx and DJ Corinne Foxx. The father-daughter duo welcome the first teams of the season to show off song title knowledge in hopes of winning up to $1 million. Tuesday is 2 hours of Name That Tune and a season finale night including a movie night challenge.
Nice to see you again. Here we go.
Wednesday starts with the premiere of MasterChef Season 12 Back to Win, with contestants from past seasons returning to take that title.
Just slip out the back, Jack.
Then it's the second round of auditions on So You Think You Can Dance, with more competitors showing off their moves to move on to the So You Think You Can Dance studio.
The competition heats up.
Thursday starts with MasterChef Junior and the top 6 tested with a restaurant takeover. That's followed by laughs courtesy of Welcome to Flatch, including the special Christmas-themed season finale. And Fox Sports takes over Friday.
What were some of the words that spring to mind when you describe this year's SmackDown?
Oh, that's easy. Tribal chief, the head of the table, the Universal Champion, the undisputed WWE Universal Champion, the guy who runs WWE and now currently runs Fox. There's something we can go on and on. That's easy.
As another week rounds out with WWE.
You gotta punch it.
Got it.
Friday night, SmackDown.
In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
Friday night, SmackDown. That's our time for tonight. Thanks so much for joining us. Going to leave you with video of a Bolivian black-capped squirrel enjoying some icy treats at the London Zoo. Be safe. Do this all again tomorrow. See you then.